some mileage in this World Championship yet. Michael Schumacher has won a magnificent victory here at the Hungaroring. Tony Jardine, just explain to us what Ferrari got so right here.
I think they thought, we can't win it on the track because overtaking is so tough. We're going to do it in the pit lane, and we're going to do it better than anybody else, and we're going to catch everybody else out. And therefore, they won by 3-2. And they caught them unawares, coming in early for that second stop, all about strategy, and actually overtook the two McLarens in the pit lane, out-fumbled the best of Woking. And that is the brilliance of Ross Brawn. He's the strategist behind that.
I mean, when we talked before the start, and a few people back home, I'm sure, would have said, this is a walkover. The McLaren's going to go away. They're never going to get caught.
Do you know what? 70% of Schumacher fans in Germany were polled before this race, and they said, oh, it's finished. It's over for Schumi.
Yeah.
But it's not, and that's what we kept saying all the way along here. And look at this, here's the start of the race. Who'd have thought, coming from third place on the grid, that Michael Schumacher would do this? Perfect formation start from the two McLarens. Damon Hill on the dirty side of the track got jumped by Eddie Irvine. Irvine gets into fourth place, and very perfectly placed for David Coulthard in second place there, you know, fending off those marauding Ferraris behind through the bumpiest part of the section of the track into turn 2 there. Perfect start. All going absolutely according to plan for McLaren at the moment. And who'd have thought that it would have unfolded like it did?
We're hearing down there, McLaren still aren't quite sure what went wrong with their car. I think it's the first time this season that they've really been hampered by a big mechanical problem.
Well, the thing is, if you think back to San Marino, there was fourth gear was lost by Hakkinen. And then off the line in Canada, he had a transmission problem, which is also gearbox, which is why we're suggesting it could be gearbox. Perhaps it's a fuel problem as well. He had a fuel problem in Hockenheim, and he was slowing there. Had Ferrari been positioned to capitalise there, instead of running so far back, they might have got more points then.
As we predicted, so tough to overtake here. It was always going to be about the pit stops, and what, 45 laps gone, when it just a little hint that it was going to be Ferrari's day.
Well, this is the thing, because Coulthard had come in and he was now responding to Michael Schumacher, because Schumacher had come in and made this early stop, but only in 6.8 seconds. And McLaren must have been scratching their head and said, what are they doing? We're sure they haven't got enough fuel in. Are they going for a three-stopper? And as we decided through this race, Coulthard was the man that had to go out there and run the protection racket for McLaren. And there it was. There comes Schumacher past. He's into second place there already. Coulthard down to third. So he's already splitting the McLarens. In comes Hakkinen just 2 laps later as part of their scheduled pit stop strategy. All cool, all calm and collected. And it goes well. It's you know, a normal pit stop. The McLaren boys are actually brilliant at this. Michael Negline, who's the chief mechanic in charge of these well-drilled boys from Woking, but it's about strategy. And out goes Mika, unaware that coming down, there we are, yeah. The Red Baron himself, Michael Schumacher, yeah, who can never be written off, who has said before this race, we won't give up until it's mathematically impossible. And where are they? Straight back into the championship. And Hakkinen was then down into second place.
We said this circuit can come out and bite you if you're not careful, and Michael Schumacher had a really scary moment. It looked as though all those pit stops would count for nothing.
Yeah, and this is exactly the same place, the last turn where Fisichella went off yesterday. It's very dusty offline, and he got offline. He lost grip at the front end, and Michael Schumacher called it. Look again, it's turning in, it loses grip, the back end goes, he catches that, the front end goes. And Michael was on the harder Goodyear rubber as well, because he wanted longevity from those tyres, so that would have lost him a bit of grip as well. But great Schumacher, getting back on. Remember he did that in Austria, lost his nose cone, pit stop, 15 seconds, got back into third place.
I was going to say, part of his brilliance is how he recovers from those little slips.
Well, he's Houdini, he's Red Baron, what else isn't this guy? He's an absolute superstar. That's why he's going to get 100 million over the next 4 years from Ferrari.
Plus bonuses, plus endorsements. He then really gave it the hammer. He knew he had another pit stop that was going to decide the Hungarian Grand Prix. He really was going to keep his whole championship alive.
Yeah, and he'd forced ahead. He got something like 27 seconds ahead here, Jim, just stopping there over the white line, because that's where the speed limiter must be put into force, going to the speed limit. But the thing here is, watch how calm the Ferrari boys are. Nigel Stepney is the British chief mechanic in charge of those guys. I thought for a moment that the right front had stuck. There's so much brake dust coming out because he's been punishing those brakes, and the way he's been punishing that Ferrari and giving it so much stick. Uprated engine, new profile rear wing, extra cooling on the bodywork there. And there he goes. Where are McLaren's? We thought, could they catch him now? No, they've done it in the pits. 3-2, 3 stops, and totally outbluffed McLaren there.
Absolutely. Let's have a word about Damon Hill. He's got a lovely habit of finishing in the top 2 here. He didn't manage it just off the podium, but another very satisfying afternoon. And I would think down in the Jordan garage there was a moment when they all said, that's what we've been waiting for all season.
Yeah, but Damon was probably thinking about last year, wasn't he, in the Arrows, when he was running out of hydraulics with a few laps to go. But there we are with just 6 laps left. Hakkinen slowing right down, and Damon Hill goes and takes 4th place off him. That's a great feeling for him. That's the 2nd point score on the trot. Brilliant.
He made a little point about the tyres, about the Bridgestone tyres he thought might not last, and I think he was proved right, wasn't he?
He was proved right, because his teammate Ralf Schumacher went on the harder ones, which didn't quite work for him, but he took the soft ones because he said they're great in the temperature. Goodyear have done such a brilliant job. I know I can get to the finish on these and keep the grip.
OK, let's have a word, shall we, with Damon Hill. Not quite on the podium, but still a very good afternoon's work. He's with Louise Goodman.
Well done, Damon. 4th place, 2nd race in a row.
Yeah, actually, that's my worst result in Hungary for 5 years, but it's not bad.
What a dramatic race.
It was an interesting race. I mean, there's not much I could do to keep Villeneuve behind, because I tried pulling away and he kept catching me every time. He went on the prime tyre, which possibly was a better race tyre, and you know, it was it was a battle, and I got a bit lucky with Mika slowing down, but you know, it was a tough race. I did the best I could, I think.
Tell me about the final laps, because Frentzen was right up behind you.
Yeah, I could see him. He kept closing up and then losing ground and stuff, so I just knew I had to keep pressing on, keep banging in as fast laps. I got my fastest lap. It's about 2 laps from the end, so you know, I was really pushing.
Good day for Jordan.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we're consistently finishing in the points and looking good in qualifying.
Looking gaunt there. Damon Hill, all those drivers will have done a few pounds this afternoon. When you rejoin us, we'll be hearing from the top 3 in the press conference. Michael Schumacher has won the Hungarian Grand Prix quite brilliantly. Here he's talking now in the press conference. Coming up for you now.
Well, Michael, you last won in Silverstone, and then you had 2 disappointing races. It must be especially satisfying winning today, because it looks so convincing.
Yeah, I mean, it has been a tough time the last 2 races, as you said. We couldn't do what we wanted to do. Then here, after qualifying, being 3rd, still believing in the race, things would go better, but then after the start, it didn't look like there was any chance to get by. We then optioned a 3-stop strategy, which initially seemed to be the wrong thing, because I was behind Jack. The 2 guys came out in front of me after their pit stop, which was supposed to be the other way around. I was supposed to be in front of them, and I thought, now I'm really stuck and in trouble, and I really started worrying actually about position 3. But then the race developed in a way where I thought as well, is still a long way to go. Let's keep going and pushing, and finally it worked. Due to some problems obviously from the other side. I don't know what was the problem of Mika, but at one stage I was first where I didn't know I was first, and I was radioing the pits and asking what's going on, why is Hakkinen actually pulling away from me instead of I'm getting closer, because I was on fresher tyres, lower fuel, I assume. But actually I was already in 1st position. That was the reason why I went off, because I was pushing so hard to keep actually in contact that I then had a little off, which still meant I was able to pull enough gap after the last pit stop, coming out in front of Damon with 5-second lead, and that was it. After that it was pretty easy, but before I would say it was about 60 laps qualifying, which on this circuit is pretty tough, but that's what you have to be prepared for.
Now you're only 7 points behind Mika in the championship. I mean, that you can't have expected that before the weekend.
I mean, you dream about the ideal result, and that was one of the dreams I had, but I thought it's staying a dream. The maximum I was thinking to achieve was being first and make a second. What happened today is obviously ideal for the championship. Now things coming back to more normal. We're coming to a couple of races which some are good, some are not so good. We will see who in the end is up front, but I think we have a pretty good chance actually Goodyear is doing a tremendous work for us, and I have to say a big proportion comes to their work. And the other thing is really by the team, because the way we used the strategy today, plus all the hard work we have done all last week, worked out, and that is obviously very pleasing, and thanks to the team.
Well done, Michael. Thank you. Well, David, second for the third time running. How was your race today?
Well, it seemed all to be going normal initially, running second to Mika, and then obviously looked like I could sort of play a little bit with the gap with Michael. And then later in the race it seemed to change round. Obviously he on a three-stopper, when he came out in front of me after his quicker pit stop, that's obviously when it became apparent that he was doing 3 stops. And his pace was just too quick. You know, at that point I wasn't able to push any harder on the tyres. I seemed to be on the limit of the front tyre under braking and the limit of the rear and acceleration. And there was no way I could run the pace that Michael was able to run at that stage. And a little couple laps behind Mika, when he developed his problem, lost me a couple of seconds a lap for 3 or 4 laps, and then a bit of traffic, and then the damage was done. And as soon as Michael came out after his last stop in front, then his pressure tyres, same fuel load, it was impossible.
Have you any idea what was wrong with Mika's car, and was that something that might have affected yours? Were you worried about that?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to the team to know what his problem was.
Now that Michael's closed up on Mika a little bit in the championship, are you going to be helping Mika from now on, do you think?
God, I think I've been helping him all year. Yeah, you know, he's got a better chance for the championship than I have.
Too much, huh?
So, you know, that's a consideration.
Thank you, David.
Thanks to Ali Watkins for asking the questions. Well done to Jacques Villeneuve. He's now 5th in the championship. But look at it at the top there. Just a 7-point gap between Hakkinen and Schumacher. 4 races to go. Competition now, courtesy of our broadcast sponsors, Texaco. We're giving away 5 VIP trips to the Italian Grand Prix at Monza in mid-September. Watch carefully. It's your last chance to enter. Both questions are about Jackie Stewart, a trailblazing driver in his day. Jackie Stewart now back in Formula One, running his own team for the 2nd year. And it's a terrific prize as well. 5 pairs of tickets for an all-expenses-paid trip to Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. That's on the weekend of the 12th and 13th of September. And here are the questions for you. Question 1. How many Grand Prix did Jackie Stewart win in his career? A, 17, B, 27, C, 37. How many World Drivers' Championships did Jackie Stewart win? A, 1, B, 2, or C, 3. OK, a couple of simple questions. If you think you know the answers, this is the number to dial: 0891 22 9966. 0891 22 9966. The lines close at midnight on Wednesday, August the 26th. And the best of luck. Now, we believe it was a handling problem that held back Mika Hakkinen in his McLaren. We'll tell you in our highlight show tonight at 10:45. Next, we go to Belgium. The Belgian Grand Prix at Spa will announce those competition winners there. The full ITV service qualifying at 11:40 on the Saturday. Murray and Martin's F1 special at 5 o'clock. We're on the air slightly later on the Sunday at 12:30. And highlights on that Sunday at 10:45. There we are then. We've seen a real battle of strategic wits here in Hungary. Michael Schumacher and Ferrari have produced the supreme team effort. And what it all means is that the championship is very much alive once again. Bye-bye to you all.